Hey everyone, welcome back. In this lesson, we're working on the reading exercises, Twinkle to Perpetual Motion in A major. This is on page 6. So this means that you will learn how to read all the notes that are in the songs Twinkle through Perpetual Motion. That does not mean, if you're a parent doing this for a child, that doesn't mean that your child will be actually looking at the sheet music for those songs, but those are the notes that we're going to learn how to read that we will use in all of those songs so that you know how to read the sheet music if needed to help your child at home for practice. Okay, so I have my book, my pencil, and my colors. Okay, so here we are. Let me zoom in a little bit. So this is the view of the violin strings from above. Okay, so we're oriented this way. So the violin is like this. Okay, we're looking at it from this view. Okay, all right. The black dots show where the fingers should be placed. And so your child has tapes on the violin, or you have tapes on your violin. I do not have tapes on this violin. Okay. So we begin with the A string and then we move on to the E string. We are only using A string and E string notes through perpetual motion. So that's all you really need to know at this point. Again, we get a visit from this perfect circle symbol that indicates the open string. However, as you notice here, we don't have a perfect circle. We have the actual numeral 0. Okay, and then 1 means the forefinger. So we're talking about the left hand. We're numbering the fingers in the left hand. 1 is the forefinger or pointer finger, index finger. 2 is your middle finger. 3 is the ring finger, and 4 is the little finger or pinky. We are not using that. We are using 1, 2, and 3 for right now. Okay, you'll notice that the finger shape is the same. So you have 1, and then 2 and 3 are touching together like this. Okay, they're not physically touching, and the tapes don't actually touch, but when you put your fingers together on the fingerboard, they actually feel like they're touching. So the dots themselves are not physically touching. The stripes, the tapes on your violin are not physically touching, but because your fingers are thicker than that little tiny spot, they actually touch. So when we're showing a finger pattern for this, I call it the red finger pattern. There's space between 1 and 2, like here, and then 2 and 3 are touching. So we begin with the A string and the E string for note reading, just for simplicity, because it follows the musical alphabet. See that? Here's your musical alphabet. Your children will learn the musical alphabet before they begin reading, and this is why. So the musical alphabet goes A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. And then backwards, A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A. So to be a good reader, you have to be able to memorize this alphabet forwards and backwards. For example, if I know the note is C and the next note is 1 higher, I know I can go to the D as the answer. If I'm on the note G and the next note is 1 lower, then I go backwards to F. Okay, so having this alphabet memorized is very helpful to figure out the names of the notes and then also to read them as the notes are moving up and down or skipping on the staff. So here's the A string. Again, the A string is the second string on the violin. We start with E and count our way down, highest to lowest. Okay, so it's the second string here. Okay, so I'm actually going to highlight that A string with this orange. Okay, we've got 1, 2, and 3 on this fingerboard. So let's see how that translates to the notes themselves. So A, the open string itself here, is in that second space. Okay, so any note in this space will be an A. Okay, and then you see how the note moves from the space to a line. So space notes are the white, or any note that fits in that white space that's sandwiched in between 2 lines. When we say a note is on a line, we mean that the line is running through the note. Okay, so the next one, if you add 1 finger down or cover the first tape, you get B. See how that fits the musical alphabet? It follows it. A, open, B, 1. Okay, so that is on the 3rd line of the staff. So I'm going to color that in now. Okay, 3rd line of the staff. So any note that's on that 3rd line is the note B, or first finger on the A string. Next, if you add second finger, we're following the alphabet A, B, C. Now we're in a key signature. That's something we'll talk about more later. So technically it's called C sharp And the sharp symbol looks like this. Okay, so this is a C sharp, second finger on the A string, A, B, C sharp. Right here, it is in the third space of the staff. So I'm going to fill all of that in. Any note in the third space is a C sharp. Okay, and last, if we add third finger, A, B, C sharp, D, the note is D, and that is on the fourth line of the staff, so I'm going to color in that fourth line. So you can see that the A string notes start here in the second space and go all the way up to the fourth line. Okay, so anything in this area of the staff will be on the A string. All right, let's move over to the E string. So the E string is right here. It is the first string. And again, we're going out of order because we're following the musical alphabet. I use pink for the E string. So I'm going to highlight that string here. Okay, again, the finger pattern is the same. 1 with space between 1 and 2, and then 2 and 3 touch, no fourth finger for now. So the E string itself here is written on the staff here. It is the fourth space, if you remember from the open string lesson. Any notes within this fourth space are E's. So you play the open E string. The first finger, we're following the alphabet. Here we are on E, we add a first finger. This is one of those weird notes. It's actually F sharp, is what we call it. F sharp. That is on the top line, the fifth line of the staff, right here. So any notes that are touching or have that line, that top fifth line running through it are F sharps. You'll use the first finger on the staff to play it. Next up, if you add second finger, we're going to move on the alphabet. You're on F sharp for 1. 2 is G sharp. Okay, so the second finger on the E string is called G sharp. We follow the alphabet. So that sits right on top of the staff. It's in the first space after the staff ends, right here. So any notes that just sit right here on top of the staff are G sharps. You'll use a second finger on the E string to play that. Now I'm going to extend this line out just a little bit. We get our first ledger line above the staff. So you can see how that relates to this previous note. So here we are, open E, first finger F sharp, second finger G sharp, and third finger A. So when we add third finger to the E string, we get an A. And that is higher than the standard staff, so we add a ledger line, this extra line. So it's on the first ledger line above the staff. So anything on that line will be an A. So let me erase that again so you can see a little bit better how that works. But you notice how this note is actually right next to it. It's in the space below this ledger line, so they're actually next to each other. And that's how notes work on the staff. They alternate. So a space to a line, those notes are next to each other in the musical alphabet, and usually next to each other as in finger number. Okay. All right. So that is the fingerboard. Okay. Now let me show you here on your violin. Okay. So here I'm plucking the A string. Okay. So we add one finger here. That's B. I go up to the second finger space, C sharp, and D. Okay, I wonder if I can flip. I don't know if I can flip this around this way. Okay. So here I am on the A string. If I put my first finger down, I get B. If I add second finger, C sharp, and then if I add third finger, D. Now if I go over to the E string here, pluck E string. If I add first finger, it's F sharp, second finger is G sharp, and third finger is A. So if I put all that together for the alphabet, I get A. So even if you can see I'm plucking this string A, B, C sharp, D, and then over to the E string, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. Good. Okay. So that would be the reading exercises, how we, what we call the A string and E string notes and where they go on the fingerboard. If in the next lesson you think it would be helpful for me to put tapes on the violin, or to use a violin with tapes, if that would be easier for you to see, please comment below so that I can make that change for you. Okay, so that's our second lesson, and I hope that helps. Thanks for watching.